Hey, Fred, I wanted to ask about your front court. They obviously saw limited playing time in the two games against Maryland. Was that mostly just because of matchups, or did it have to do with Derek's conditioning coming back off the break? Or I guess what was the reason behind that? And do you anticipate them being more involved going forward?
Yeah, a big part of it was Derek's condition, and we made the decision of not to take any chances and sat him in the second half of that first game, and then second game, we're just gradually going to get him back going again, and then it also had a lot of it had to do with how Maryland plays. They play smaller than pretty much every team in the league. They did in the Minnesota game before our first game with them. They went to that smaller lineup, so that had something to do with it as well. But yeah, they're going to have to be a big part. All three of those guys are going to have to be ready. We're playing, I think, as good a big as any in the country tomorrow, with Williams and then Edie off the bench. They just pose so many problems. They throw it into them most possessions, and we're going to have all three of those guys ready to come in. Just keep fresh bodies on them to try to slow them down as much as we can.
Chris Bassinet.
Hey, Fred, what were you guys able to, get done in practice today after the off day yesterday, and how the guys kind of respond to finally being able to maybe get a little bit of rest?
Well, I wanted to get them up and down a little bit today, Chris, but we literally had three possessions in a row where I had three guys limp off the court, and I just, after that, made the decision, let's just walk through. We were just dropping like flies. And generally the second day after an extended trip is the one where you're more tired. And yesterday, you kind of go on adrenaline after that first day back home. And then the second day, that's when it hits you. So we got them up. We got a really good sweat early in practice, but when we put our scout in and the game plan in, generally when we go live and get them up and down a little bit more, we just weren't able to do that because of a couple little things. Not that any of them have to sit out tomorrow, but literally 3 straight plays I had guys limp off the court. So, we just made the decision to put the game plan, walk through it, and we'll get an opportunity to get a sweat tomorrow at noon before the 4:30 tip, and hopefully have our legs. That's going to be as important as any in this stretch that we're going to have coming up, is to try to keep them as fresh as possible.
Sam McEwen.
Hey, Fred. We can all kind of see that Eduardo Andre as a player is developing, in front of our eyes in terms of his, skill set and his awareness on the court. What have you liked about the work that he's done maybe over the last 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, I'm really proud of Eduardo, for working on his game and spending a lot of extra time in the gym, working on his finishes, working on his conditioning. We put him on the scout team to where he's playing the other teams. Most teams in this league have a great big, so he's getting a lot of touches in that type of setting, and I think it's helped him. I think it's helped with his conditioning. You have the first team guard it, second team guard it, and you're getting every rep. And I think that has really helped Eduardo with conditioning, learning the league, of what bigs are going to do. And then when he gets in the game, he should know, because he's learning all the plays as we put the scout in. So, the thing I really like about him, Sam, is how he's running the floor. He's doing a great job getting up and down. He's setting screens. He's rolling to the rim. I think our shooters have benefited because of Eduardo's commitment to rolling to the basket. And then he's made some really nice passes. We've done a good job loosening teams up a little bit with Derek flashing to the high post with Eduardo, and they've made good reads and good passes off of it. So I think Eduardo's got a chance with his physical tools to be special, and I've said that since we got him. And rim protection, we haven't had that in the 2 years that we're coming up on. But Eduardo has had some really good blocks at the rim, and plays that would have been 2 points or 3 on an and one are now, we've got that guy back there, so we can get extended a little bit more as we move on with Eduardo into the future, and he'll play more and more as we go down the stretch run. And I've been really pleased with his development, and proud of how he's continued to work.
I have a question, one more about him. Offensively, how long does it take players generally to develop those post moves and their confidence in finishing at the rim? I think we've all seen Ivan come a ways in his journey, but he still has a ways to go. how do you work on that? Is it just repetition, or are there other things that you guys lean on to develop their offensive skills?
Yeah, it is repetition. There's no doubt about that. It's continuing to get in the gym, which those two guys, both Ivan and Eduardo, do a good job. And a lot of it is where they are based on their development in their basketball lives. And both those two guys started playing basketball later than most of the guys on our roster. Eduardo, I mean, he's still new to this game, but I think you see the feel. I think he's going to develop into a nice shooter. He's got a nice high release point. You saw, I think, Penn State or in one of those games, he stepped up and knocked down 2 free throws with no hesitation. And, I think he's going to have a chance to be a very good shooter because of his mechanics. But, again, as you talked about, Sam, the repetition with the players, especially the ones that didn't grow up with this game. Eduardo grew up playing a lot of soccer, and I think that's why he's got great feet. But he's got a chance to be a really good one because, again, of his athleticism. You can't teach a almost 7'5" wingspan, and then the way that he is coming along with his skill set.
Jacob Padilla?
Trey's been struggling a bit the last handful of games. What have you seen from him on film, and what can you do to help him pull himself out of that slump?
You said Trey?
Yes.
Yeah. Trey is, I think he'd probably be the first one to say right now that he is probably struggling a little bit with his confidence. And, the things that we worked this morning before practice, on some things to get him closer to the line on some of his shots. He's shooting his threes, 4 or 5 feet behind the line right now. He's gathering. He's had some really good takes to the basket. He just hasn't finished them. Some of that is he's gathering the ball a step or two outside of where he should. So, watching some of those things, Trey was probably the best player that we had going into the break. He was phenomenal, and he'd really, I think, figured out when to attack and kind of when to back off a little bit and get us into an action. And then it's taken not only Trey but all of our guys. It's going to take time as they work their way back into shape, after the shutdown that we had. So, it's affected some of them more than it has others. But, Trey, we still want him to continue to be aggressive. I thought his 2 threes in the first half were right on, and unfortunately they didn't go in. So I think he was almost 45% from 3-point line before the shutdown happened. So it's just getting that rhythm back, having a game where he sees the ball go through the hoop, and hopefully getting some confidence back.
Eric Olson?
Hey, Fred, did you happen to see what Juwan Howard said yesterday about not liking the idea of playing back-to-back nights? And if not, I just wanted to see if you have an interpretation of it where he said that every program's different. We're a lot different from Nebraska and Maryland. I'll just leave it like that. Did you hear that, and how do you interpret that?
Well, I interpret it a couple different ways. One, and listen, I have the utmost respect for Juwan Howard. I always have. He's a guy that I know. I tried to hire him when I was in Chicago when I got the Bulls job, and I admired him as a player. He's doing obviously unbelievable things at Michigan, but I said it the other night after the game. Our programs are in 2 completely different places right now. We're in a beginning stages of a rebuild, and he's right now a team that's going to compete for a championship. So for us, these games are all very meaningful for the development of our players. You've seen what it's done for Eduardo, to get more action and more games. So to me, the more games we can play, the better it's going to be. Now, the one thing I don't want is for it to affect long-term health. And we talk to our training staff and our medical staff about that, and try to make sure that the guys, make it through these last however many games we're going to play, on what the Big Ten gives us. But it's important for us to get games where our guys can continue to develop and get opportunity. The other thing, I can't say I blame what they're trying to do over there, and the last thing I'd say is, for me, I'm going to talk about what's best for our program. And, I would hope all the other coaches would do the same thing.
Thank you.
Tom Chattel?
Hey, Fred, I want to ask you about fans. It's been a crazy year, obviously. What's it been like in a lot of these arenas that are just empty? And how much do you miss the fans this year?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously our league has the best fan bases in the country, and to play in an empty arena, I mean, a big part of playing at Nebraska is the great fan support that you have, and you see it all across the board in every sport. Our arenas are full, our stadiums are full, and it's an unbelievable atmosphere. Especially as hopefully we get it going in the next couple of years. It's going to be electric in our arena, and hopefully we get back to that. Hopefully next year's normal. Hopefully this vaccine does great things and gets the fans back in the seats at full capacity. I guess the NCAA passed today that they're going to allow 20 or 25% capacity at the NCAA tournament. So going into next year, hopefully we can get this thing behind us and get some normalcy back in our lives to where we have full stadiums and arenas again. That's a huge part of college athletics. It's a huge part in sports in general, is playing in front of great fan bases. And, sometimes guys, even on the road, you get motivated with, the fans in the building. I loved playing on the road when I was high school, college, whatever it was. You can use all that stuff as motivation. So it's been tough, Tom, but it's the same for everybody. It's not like somebody has an advantage more than somebody else because there's no fans. There's a couple of conferences that are allowing a little bit, 1,200 or 1,500, 2,000, whatever it is. But the Big Ten has made the decision to not allow anybody in the building besides families, and some schools don't even allow that. It's obviously it's not ideal, but with what we're living in and trying to get through right now, it's the thing that makes the most sense. And then, like I said, hopefully next year we get back to some normalcy.
Connor Happer.
Coach, I'm curious about your kind of approach over the last stretch of the season here. Do you have a set goals or things you want to accomplish before the season ends, or is it more of like just a game? It's coming so fast that it's a game-to-game thing, and you're just trying to find wins wherever you can?
Well, the biggest thing is we're just trying to take it day by day right now, and that's what you have to do when you have as crazy a stretch as we've had. And you play the 7 games in 12 days in 5 states, and as I said, when you have that type of stretch where you're traveling that much, the first day you feel okay, and today, I thought our guys were pretty wiped out. Part of this conditioning and training to get our guys ready is to make sure they're as fresh as they possibly can be so they can play to the best of their abilities. You're not going to be able to play, and I thought you saw that in the Maryland game. We were as poor defensively as we have been in a long time, and I think a lot of that had to do with just the mental fatigue that we had with the stretch that we were finishing up, and we weren't talking like we had been. We got lost on several occasions. 2 guys went with the same guy. They were getting all kinds of looks, and to me, the way we had been defending, that had a lot to do with the fatigue element. So it's about getting hopefully back mentally sharp and physically where you have the legs to play complete game. We're playing a hell of a team tomorrow in Purdue, and every game the rest of the way in this league, it's going to be very difficult. So we're going to try to do everything we can to get our players ready. The other thing is development. Playing some more of the guys that maybe haven't gotten a great opportunity to this point. To hopefully see what we have going into next year. That's going to be an important part of our future. I feel great about our future with our recruiting class. With some of the players, that certainly will be back. Going into next year. With Bryce McGowan's. With Wilhelm Breidenbach and with Keisha. I think we got 3 players that can absolutely help us, and then you got some continuity, which we have not had to this point. So, with the continuity of the players that have been in it, you can see we're getting a little more comfortable with it as the season goes on. And hopefully that'll pay some benefits. But, some of the other players that maybe haven't played as much. I got Trevor some, solid minutes the other night, and he's going to, be in a position where we're going to play him, to see see if he can give us what we thought he could when we brought him in as far as his shooting, and he shot it great in practice today. So, we'll continue to hopefully get guys opportunities, but development is a big part of what we're trying to accomplish with the rest of the season.
We'll finish with Jacob Padilla.
Purdue's got a good mix of veterans and young guys in the rotation. What kind of challenges do you think they'll present to you guys?
Yeah, They do a great job. You see the pace that they run their actions with is as good as any in the country. And, Matt Painter, I think, does a phenomenal job with his team and the actions that he runs, not only to get his bigs touches on the blocks, but also the actions that he runs for his shooters coming off screens. Travion Williams, not only can he score it, but, the 28 that he scored against Michigan State, he did it in such a variety of ways. His moves, the 15-foot jump hooks off the window from the left side of the floor, his ability to pass. He's, one of the best big passers I've seen. So, it starts with him, and then you bring in a 7'4" player in Edey that they're going to throw it to pretty much every possession he's in the game, and then play off of him with their shooting. So, they just put you in a tough position because their bigs are so skilled on the block, and then they've got guys that can knock down shots around them.
Okay, that'll end our session with Coach Hoiberg. We'll come back with Kobe Webster shortly.
Thank you.